Welcome to I'll Have You Know, a podcast from Rice Business. This episode is part of our Flight Path series where guests share their career journeys, the stories of the Rice connections that got them where they are. On this episode of I'll Have You Know, we talk to the grand prize winners of the 2025 Rice Business Plan competition, Childs and Madeline Eiken, founders of Intero Biosystems. Their groundbreaking medical innovation is the first stem cell-derived, lab-grown version of the human intestine, recreating stem cells mimicking human organs with the potential of eliminating a trial-and-error method in humans. And it all happened by chance. Listen to their exciting story about their passion for innovation, bioengineering, and how their Rice business experience has been integral in elevating their venture to the next level. Today on I'll Have You Know, we have two very special guests, the winners of the Rice Business Plan competition in 2025, the 25th year of the competition at Rice Business, which is one of the largest and richest competitions. We will pat ourselves on the back. Rice is pretty awesome. And the competition is something that draws people from all over the country, the brightest minds, the most interesting entrepreneurs, and you guys won, and we are so thrilled to have you join us today to tell us about your story and about the phenomenal startup that you have. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us. This is so exciting.
Thanks for having us.
So Madeline and Charlie, so you are the co-founders of Intero Biosystems, which I was reading about this and just my mind was sort of blown. So Intero Biosystems has created the first stem cell-derived lab-grown version of the human intestine. Wow. With functioning neurons, blood vessels, muscles, and the inner lining of the intestine. I mean, I don't even know how to begin. So I'm going to let you take over and explain to us, first of all, how you both met and what was really the driving force of creating something that is literally going to change millions of lives.
Wow, you crushed it. I mean, what the driving forces were total nerds, but that's okay. So we were both PhD students at the University of Michigan. We are in the lab of Jason Spence. He originally invented this entire field where you can take adult cells like blood or any other living cell in the human body and turn it back into a state where it can turn into any cell in your body. So that's our stem cells. So he figured out how to take the stem cells into these miniature human intestines. And I spent my thesis work optimizing the way that we do that alongside Madeline, who's a biomedical engineer. And both of us get along great. We are good friends. And we both really wanted to push this really fast and make a big impact with the technology because we agree. We think it's super cool and can be super transformative for the field of medicine. So that's how we spun it out.
So you met in the lab, and tell me about your passion for this kind of research.
So, the first thing that comes to mind is, of course, that it's just so cool. Charlie and I talk all the time about how this is the coolest science we'll probably get to do in our careers. It's just the excitement of being able to take a single population of cells and turn it into this extremely complex mini organ is just really exciting for both of us and I think for everyone in our lab. And then to commercialize it, I think Charlie and I just have this shared goal of really doing research that impacts the world. I worked at a startup prior to my PhD and absolutely loved the experience. And going into my PhD, my goal was to one day work at a startup again. So it's happening much faster than I ever expected. But yeah, we just know that we work really well together. We know that we have really complementary skill sets. So my background is in engineering, while Charlie is a biologist. And so the way that we approach problems is quite different from each other, but we have this really shared interest in commercializing that technology.
Talk me through the process. Obviously it's stem cells, and I think that most of us understand what those are, right? But walk me through how you start with stem cells and you literally grow an intestine.
Sure. We also think it's amazing. And I think every day, as we develop this model, we are just more and more amazed at how amazing nature is and how smart science is. So what we can do is we take these stem cells, which, like you said, can turn to anything in the body, And then we simulate human development. So every day we give them, we literally call it Gatorade. Like the cells live in this red liquid, and it truly is Gatorade. It has like glucose and proteins and other things that the cells need to live, just like our bodies do. And each day we give them different proteins that leads them down human developmental time until they turn into the miniature intestine. So it's actually a lot more simple than you would think. And our breakthrough figured out that a single protein that we switched in this process caused this beautiful thing to form. So the cells, we joke about this every day. Like the cells just know what to do, and we just need to like push them in the right direction, and they will figure out what to do.
So you grew this gut, this intestine, which is then going to be used to test medications and pharmaceutical drugs to see what works and what doesn't work. So you don't have to use humans basically as, your control group.
Exactly.
You can use these stem cells that function the same as a human intestine and eliminate the whole trial and error of using medicines because personally, like I've got gastrointestinal issues. And so I've been on a bazillion different, that's why this was so fascinating to me. I've been on a bazillion different medications, and none of them really particularly work. Some work better than others, but this is really life-changing for people that struggle with this every single day.
Right. And you're the exact case example of what we're really aiming for. Like, it's horrible to have to go down this list of medications that the insurance company is going to make you do and just be like, no, that didn't work. 6 months of my life wasted. No, that one didn't work. 8 months of my life wasted. So our ultimate goal is exactly what you're talking about, like this personalized medicine approach where we could make 1,000 organoids from you and be like, hey, the first 5 drugs are not going to work. Do not waste her time with this. Let's go to the 6th drug that we know will have an impact and hopefully make patients' lives a little bit more bearable during this very uncomfortable process to begin with. But yeah, you nailed it on the head. That's like our goal. We really want to get there.
So Madeline, I want to ask you, when you discovered that you have created something really unique and groundbreaking, tell me about that day, that moment when you were like, oh my goodness, like this is big.
No, it's crazy.
Yeah. So Charlie had done like all this really amazing work in her PhD to develop this organoid model. But one of the big drawbacks of organoids is that they have to be encased in like basically jello. It provides some support as they grow and get bigger. They need some structural support. But the jello that we use in the lab is made from mouse cancer cells. And so we just have this like really not relevant supporting matrix surrounding. And so
mouse cancer cells.
Yep.
Yeah, like the mouse cancer cells spit out a juice that's like jello.
Okay.
And then we put the
It's gross.
It's gross.
No, I mean, it sounds amazing. I had never heard of that before.
You don't really encounter it in your day-to-day life.
But Madeline,
not in mine, no.
Madeline's entire PhD is on how we need to move away from, it's called Matrigel. It's very important for the whole field. Everybody uses it, but we have like whole PhDs dedicated like Madeline's to how we can move away from it. So I'll be quiet and let you keep going, Madeline.
Yes. So anyway, Charlie and I were working together. We had this really awesome organoid model that we think could be really powerful, but we know we cannot be using mouse cancer juice to grow it. And so we're working on some ways that we can grow the organoids without it. So we're like doing a bunch of pilot studies, trying to see what we think might work. And then we had a plate that we accidentally forgot in the incubator for a few months. We were still feeding it, but we just didn't have plans for an experiment for it. And so we like every month or so, we'll go through the incubator, clean everything out, like figure out what we want to do with all of the plates that we have. And so Charlie and I were looking at this plate that was a few months old. And we were like, these organoids are moving. What is going on? And the organoid had matured enough that it was actually doing peristalsis, which is the movement of muscle that pushes food through the intestine. And we had observed this in organoids that we had implanted into mice because they get really big and really mature. We'd never seen it in the dish doing this.
On its own, by accident, in the refrigerator.
Yes.
But those are usually the way, like that's how they discovered penicillin, right? It was an accident.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A little bit of an accident. So we like freaked out, and it was so exciting for us because it really confirmed that these are just as functional as an actual human intestine, and we can see it with our eyes that these really work. And then it also just opened up these whole other line of questioning that we can ask about peristalsis, which is how food moves through your intestine. And when you have something like diarrhea, it could be that peristalsis is speeding up. When you have constipation, it could be that peristalsis is slowing down. So it just unlocked all of these additional questions that we can now ask with the organoids to determine things like side effects to drugs. So that was really exciting. We were like running around screaming, showing
We were
everyone.
screaming, like
so
jumping
fun.
up and down.
When was this?
I think this was like early December last year. And science is kind of the same way that like between Thanksgiving and Christmas, you're like, not a lot going on. So we were like, oh my God, wow, we've been working so hard. This is great. So it was a good way to end the year.
I mean, do you like post something like that on Instagram or something?
Right?
Like, what,
Oh my gosh.
what do you
I
do?
wish.
I would. I think when our undergrads showed their mom and their mom was very excited. And that's like the most we got. But that's okay.
Yeah. So you made this earth-shattering discovery. And is that when you decided to launch the startup?
We had decided to launch it earlier in the year, but we were planning on going really slow. Like it was the month before I defended my thesis. We were going to apply for grants, get like a lot of data. We didn't think anyone was going to be super excited about it. I don't know. We didn't know what we were doing. And then all of a sudden we got like a ton of interest, both from customers and investors. And we were both like, oh, we got to go. Like we got to go faster. This is crazy. So now I feel like as of 2 months ago, I'm like, oh my God, we were in full startup mode. Like we were just sprinting and it's really fun. We both love it, but it is not what we anticipated, which is in the best way.
Yeah. And I think the further along we get, we're like, we knew this model was awesome a year ago when we started the company. And the further along we get, we're like, oh, this model is awesome. And so we're like really, I think, thinking a lot bigger about what we can do with it and like how it can help people.
And how you can share it, which leads us to the Rice Business Plan competition.
Yeah.
So what was really the reason that you decided to compete in the Rice Business Plan competition? How did you hear about it? What did you know about it? Tell us about that experience.
All the credit goes to Madeline, like all of it. She did like all the hard work. So talk about how amazing you are, please.
Sure. Yeah. So when we applied for Rice Business Plan competition, Charlie was no longer a student. So as the student representative of the company, I'm really fortunate to be really in the supportive ecosystem that the University of Michigan provides. There's a ton of programming for student entrepreneurs. And I'm like amazed every day, especially with undergrads starting their own companies. Like there's just really, really cool work going on. And so we had gotten integrated into this community. And then our faculty advisor within the Zell-Lurie Institute for Entrepreneurship, she was like, you guys, I think you'll do really well at these student business plan competitions. You should apply for some. So she takes a team every year and was just like really encouraging. And so it was something that we had been thinking about just for like the past 6 months prior to the business plan competition. And then we were really excited when it was time to apply, especially because it was dovetailing really nicely with what ended up being our fundraise. And so we were like, this is going to be perfect. We have to write a business plan for our fundraise anyway. Like we're kind of already doing all the activities for it. So yeah, we applied. We had a watch party for when the 42 teams were picked for the business plan competition.
Yes, because there's only 42 teams.
Yeah.
I mean, Rice really limits it to the best and the brightest. And, there's hundreds of people that apply to this competition. And to be chosen is a really big deal.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we were so excited. They announced our names second and we were just screaming. It was so exciting.
As much as when you saw the organoids, or I'm just kidding.
It was a different kind.
No, I think it was more. Because we didn't think we were going to, we were like, okay, me and Madeline were like 5 minutes late. It was kind of embarrassing. We couldn't find parking. And the business school was it was so bad. And the business school put on like a watch party for us. So we're like running up the stairs and we were like, oh, if we get picked, there's 42 teams, it'll be okay. They announced us second and we had walked in the door the second before they announced us. So it was very exciting.
Wow.
It was very fun.
Yeah, it was very exciting.
Well, I mean, it's a very, very, very rigorous process to be selected for the Rice Business Plan competition by the Rice Alliance for Technology and Entrepreneurship here at Rice. I mean, they really hand select these teams, and that you were called second. So tell me, how did you plan for it and that whole experience so you got in with 41 others, teams from all across the country, the Ivies, all these phenomenal schools. So then what?
We ended up having a pitch gauntlet leading up to Rice, which actually really prepared us well. So we pitched at South by Southwest. And then the next
in Austin,
weekend, we pitched. Yeah, that was so fun. Charlie's from Austin. We had a great time. And then we pitched at the Baylor University pitch competition. And the next weekend we pitched at the University of Arkansas pitch competition. So we had a lot of time to really hone our pitch and figure out how we wanted to tell this story. Charlie and I are both scientists. We're used to telling and talking about the organoids to a very scientific audience. And so it was really important to us that everybody could understand what we were doing and how we were thinking about the business, not just from a scientific perspective. So we were really lucky to have Don, who at the time was an MBA student. He's now graduated at the Michigan Ross School of Business. And so he was also really helpful in just kind of thinking about how we wanted to tell the story to a broad audience while also getting across scientifically how cool the science is. Yeah, so it was like a lot of really lucky, well-timed practice, as well as getting a lot of feedback from different people to make sure that the science was really understandable as we went into the pitch.
So tell me your pitch. I want to hear the pitch. What's the pitch? Tell me the story.
The pitch is that clinical trials, we all think, are this way to get like a miracle drug. But in reality, 90% of drugs that go into clinical trials fail. So our pitch to the world, so if any pharma companies are listening, come talk to us, is to fail your drugs fast before you go into clinical trials. It takes $2 billion to get a drug to market. Don't waste all that money. Fail it before you go in using our model. Or maybe we discover your blockbuster drug and you can then funnel all your resources into that going into clinical trials.
Fail fast.
Fail fast.
I love
exactly.
it. Fail fast so that you don't waste any time.
Exactly.
Because time is really of the essence. So when you arrived at Rice, what were some of the other entrepreneurs pitching? What were some of the ones that stood out to you?
Oh my gosh, they were all so cool. Okay, I'm going to say my favorite, and then Madeline, you should tell your favorite. Mine is, and it might be the same as mine. They were all so cool, it's hard to pick, but we are obsessed with FarmSmart AI. We saw them at Baylor New Ventures competition. They're out of LSU. And it's 4 really, really bright guys who are making this AI for, I'm going to butcher this, but I hope they forgive me, for agricultural use. So you say like what problems you're having with your crop, and the AI will prompt you with ways to fix it or like troubleshooting or ask you more questions so you can help your crop or troubleshoot from there. But that was my favorite. It's such a cool idea. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed.
And Madeline, what about you?
Oh my gosh, I do love FarmSmarter AI. They're great. I think like generally what's so cool is that we're so excited to talk about our startup. Obviously, we think it's so cool. But then it's so fun talking to all of these other student entrepreneurs that are thinking about really, really big problems that like I never think about. I don't think about what a farmer has to do in order to, address issues with their crops while still following regulations. And so I think it's just so cool to like learn about all of the different ways that entrepreneurs are tackling really big problems with a really cool solution. So I think in general, it's what's so fun about going to these competitions is just meeting people who are just as passionate about us, about something totally different. And that was really, really fun.
How does the Rise Business Plan competition stand out in comparison to some others?
It was like a whole nother beast. And people kept warning us, like leading up to it. They were like, this is fun, but wait till you get to Rice. It was just like the breadth of not only the startups, but also the judges and all the people from Rice. It was the investors. Like we were just blown away at how much support and interest there was. And I mean, our first pitch was crazy. Like people were audibly like gasping and cheering. And it was just such a fun group to pitch to. And we just made so many wonderful connections. And I truly, truly like this is like launching us into another realm that we didn't even think we were going to be able to be in, both from like connections and investors and just support. We're so thankful.
No, I just totally echo what Charlie said. It was like the energy in the air was just different at Rice. It was so exciting. Like every day was so exciting. There was just like a buzz in the air. I mean, all the competitions we went to were really fun, but Rice was like a totally different animal. It was awesome.
Yeah, and I saw a photo of you with Dean Rodriguez and with Dr. Cherry Curry and with Brad Burke, and you're nodding your head. So tell me, what was their reaction when they learned about your story and about Intero, and what was their response?
They're just so supportive. It was like, oh my God, this is amazing. We think your technology is great. Your team is great. Let me introduce you to like 10 other people that are here that we think would be useful to you to talk to. And they were so excited to talk to us and introduce us to even more people. It was nuts. Like I am still speechless by how much support we received. It's truly unbelievable.
And so my other question is, so because we are in the Texas Medical Center, did you have an opportunity to really connect with some leaders here at the medical center here in Houston?
Yes, we did. JR, who is at TMC's
Real,
Innovation
JR
Center.
Real.
Yes,
Yes,
love
I know him. He was one of my professors.
No way. Oh my God. That's wild. He is awesome. And he is like exactly the person I'm talking about as far as like the support goes. Like me and Madeline were outside getting snacks in the afternoon. And he came over and was like, hey, I have a ton of ideas and connections for you, and like sat us down and talked to us for an hour. And he and his group really pushed us to add some things to our pitch that I really think brought it home in the end. They really made us think really big where like our vision is going and really how to communicate that vision in the final. And Madeline, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that like completely changed how we were thinking about this company entirely.
Yeah, I completely agree. And like, it was just amazing, especially in our first pitch where there were a lot of like really medically focused people as judges. We got questions that we get at scientific conferences. Like, we were blown away with the thoughtfulness of the questions, with clearly people had done their diligence even before hearing us pitch and had read our papers and stuff. It was really wonderful and amazing. We left that pitch and we were like, oh my gosh, this is the most science we've ever gotten to talk about at a business plan competition.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. And JR, like I said, I took a class with him and Blair Guru from the Mercury Fund.
Oh, totally.
It was called Financing the Startup. And I just remember going to class and just being riveted by everything that they would say in terms of funding. You know, let's talk about that for a minute, because I feel that that's really relevant right now in this day and age. Mm-hmm. Because one of the things that they did tell me in class, and I graduated in 2022 with my executive MBA, but
congratulations.
But they were like, oh, thank you.
That's awesome.
But what they had said was that the financing part, like for venture, you know, there was so much funding available, and they're like, this isn't going to last forever. And it's really, really challenging for people that are brilliant, that come up with these phenomenal innovations, to really find the funding in order to move to the next stage. So have you found it difficult to really finance your venture?
No is the answer. And I know
that's a good answer. That's a great answer. That makes me happy.
Yeah, no, I think you're totally right. Like 2022, there was all this funding, and we've seen a huge shift back, especially in the biotech industry. We've just been really fortunate with the timing of announcements from like the FDA and the NIH, who are saying that they're going to reduce the use of animals in testing. And both have specifically named organoids, which is what our miniature intestines are, as the alternative. So we just started the company at a really awesome time, perfectly on accident. Yeah. And we just have such a supportive ecosystem, both in Michigan and now in Houston, that they like really get the vision. And we have been having I don't want to say easy time, because fundraising is extremely hard, but we've had a lot of interest, and it's just been going really well. And I think it's just finding the investors who like truly believe in your vision and understand your technology, and they introduce you to more people like them. So we ended up way oversubscribing our round, in huge part with the win from Rice. Like, we had people still reaching out to us being like, I saw you on Rice and I saw the FDA announcement. Do you want to talk? And me and Madeline have to like be like, no, that's great, we'll talk to you. But like, we are so overwhelmed with interest. We appreciate it, but we'll talk next round. So it's been good.
So which round of fundraising are you in?
We are just wrapping up our pre-seed with all the interest from Rice. So we're really excited to move forward with everyone we met there. And we're excited to get going and start scaling.
So that's my next question is, so what's next? So you won $150,000. That was the grand prize.
Yes. The grand prize was 150. We won 902 total. 900,000
total. Right. Sorry,
yeah.
That's a bigger number.
You're good.
So, but for the grand prize, it was like 100, because the photo with the check was 150.
Yes. Exactly.
But you won close to $1 million.
Yeah.
So what's next?
Madeline, go for it. You're the schemer.
Sure. Yeah. So now we're really excited to be really laser focused on de-risking the company and meeting our milestones with this fundraise. We were really lucky to basically double what we were hoping to raise. So that was really awesome and exciting for us. And because of that extra cushion that we have, we think we can push a lot faster on some of our milestones that we had been thinking about for seed rounds and even Series A. So yeah, right now we're really focusing on onlining our manufacturing and figuring out how we're going to make the organoids really reproducibly, so we can get them into the hands of customers as quickly as we can. So now the fun part of running the company is what we get to do.
Yeah. So it's just the two of you?
It's the two of us, and then we have our academic co-founder, who's also our CSO, Dr. Jason Spence, who's our professor at the University of Michigan.
Yes.
And then we just hired a research assistant, which we're really excited to have on board. And then in the summer, we have a PhD level scientist starting with us as well. So we're growing very quick. It's very exciting.
Well, it was that fortunate refrigerator accident.
Right. Exactly.
So that's the secret behind it all.
I mean, and the timing of it, I'm one of those that does not believe in accidents. The coincidences are not really coincidences. I feel that, everything happens the way and the time in which it should. And with a lot of companies that are recognizing that funding is going to be a lot more challenging, to be in a space that is being elevated and raised up is really phenomenal to find yourself in that sort of a space.
Definitely. And maybe Rice should start a Series A level competition, because I feel like we were on such easy mode, getting propped up by Rice. Every round we should just compete in Rice again. I'm kidding. But no, I think a big part of the success is the platform that Rice gave us. It's really hard to reach a lot of these investors, and without Rice, I'm not sure we would have the amount of it. I know for a fact we would not have the amount of interest that we have. So we're just so thankful. But it will not be this easy next round. And that's what I keep getting told.
Well, I wouldn't listen to that. I think, don't listen to the haters.
Just realists,
Well, I think that the fact that you did have such phenomenal success at Rice really sets you on a path for continued greatness. And the other question that I really want to ask you is, what advice would you give to others that are in your shoes, but not really in your shoes quite yet, but are considering applying to the Rice Business Plan competition? And what sort of advice would you give them if they're kind of, well, do I do it? Do I not do it? And, those sorts of things. What would you tell them?
I think my advice is definitely do it. We had a great time at Rice. We got amazing feedback. And I think going to Rice, being really open to the feedback that you're going to get. There are brilliant judges in every room that you go into who have ideas about your company. And so going in, both knowing what the core of your business is, but then also being really open to the expertise in the room. We just got so much value out of the conversations that we had at Rice. And it was just a really fun experience. I really recommend it.
I would say the exact same thing. And I think even if we hadn't have won any money, it would have been just as valuable of an experience. We were applying, like Madeline said, for the business plan competitions as we were writing a fast track SBIR grant where you have to include a business plan. That was during January. And what was great about Rice is we got multiple rounds of feedback, both in person and beforehand. So we feel so confident moving forward with any bigger thing that we have to do with the business plan that we dialed in at Rice. Yeah, I could go on and on. The feedback was just so fabulous. We're so thankful.
Yeah. We're really, really grateful that you came to Rice and that we have an opportunity to learn more about your phenomenal startup, and only wishing Intero Biosystems the best for the future, and definitely on our radars now. And we're going to watch you grow and succeed. And we're really, really thrilled that innovation is something that continues to thrive and grow at Rice Business. So thank you for being a part of it.
We are so excited to be a part of it, and we hope we get invited back next year. I'm just going to put that into the void. Okay, great. That's great. It just must be so fun watching it from the other side too. We had so much fun, but we were also super stressed, obviously. So I think it'd be very fun to watch it from the judge's perspective.
Well, maybe you can come back and be judges sometime.
Yeah, there we go. Again, putting that into the void. If anyone's listening, I would love to come back.
We'll see what we can do about that.
Thank you so much.
But Madeline and Charlie, it's really been a pleasure to talk with both of you.
We appreciate it. But thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, this is so fun.
Thanks for listening. This has been I'll Have You Know, a production of Rice Business. You can find more information about our guests, hosts, and announcements on our website, business.rice.edu. Please subscribe and leave a rating wherever you find your favorite podcasts. We'd love to hear what you think. The hosts of I'll Have You Know are myself, Maya Pomroy, and Brian Jackson.